car itself here, as we've got the pace car now on the pit lane, Brian, and we've got, I believe, Beth Burkhardt on the starter stand looking over the field as they come out of turn 10, and we have a green flag, and we are racing here from Summit Point Raceway. As our front row, we've got Nathan Nicholson in the number 95 machine being really pushed over a little bit to driver's left by Nathan Saxon in the number 16 as they come now down under braking and going into turn number 1.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Nathan Nicholson. He is going to lead this charge, but I tell you what, Greg, the Alex Bergatoli, he went 3 wide, had 2 tires on the right-hand side in the grass right at the start. He's going to drop back to a little bit 4, still side by side. But now you've got Nicholson, and now throw in the Saxton machine in there. That's going to be 1-2 as they head over the hill to turn 4, headed down into turn 5. You'll be able to see on your camera, they're still going to be 2 wide, 3 rows back.
That's right. It's, again, all these identically prepared cars, and it looks like now we do have Nathan Nicholson in that red number 95 machine. He is your leader coming through turn number 5. I've got a lot of experience with Nathan. There are a number of iRacing leagues, one the Rick Motec World Series that I call that he races and has shown himself to be very well versed there in the virtual world, and so far as he leads the field and the pack out of turn number 8. We've got a driver that's just dropped the wheel coming out of turn 8 and manages to recover the car. I think that might have been the number 4 of Alex Bertagnoli, but our leader's now coming out of turn 10 onto the front straight, and your leader, it is the number 95 of Nathan Nicholson, but coming down the inside, Cam Eben in the number 55 car. He is now side by side. He is driver's right, center of track, going down into turn 1 under braking. He's got Michael Borden in the 42 machine, again a 2020 SCCA national champion in T4. He is currently running in 3rd. Alex Bertagnoli and Nathan Saxon, who started off on the front row, he is now fallen back into 5th position in the Flat Out Motorsports machine. Right behind him, we've got Will Robusto in the number 22, the silver and blue machine, as they round turn 3, Brian.
I'll tell you what, Eden started to go down there. Michael Borden wanted to go with him, thought better of it, got back in line as they went down through turns 1 and 2. You can see them now into turn 5, but he thought better of it, got in behind Nathan Nicholson. That put Nicholson back in the lead, Craig.
That's right, and we see now is Nathan Saxon trying to go around the outside of Bertagnoli coming through turn 5. That is definitely the long way around, but if he can make it stick, he should be able to have the inside position going into turn number 6. And we've got, she'll be joining us here in just a moment. We have Bethany Porter from Spec MX-5 Challenge. All right, and our leaders now coming out of turn 10 and across the stripe, and to complete lap number 2, it is Nathan Nicholson with Michael Borden now locked right on his rear bumper.
As they come out of turn 2 right now, again, it is still Nicholson leading Borden 1-2 as they start to pull away a little bit from the 55 of Cam Eden as they start to head up through turn 3 right now. Now Cam Eben back into 4th position. Throw the number 4, Alex Bertagnoli. He is in the 3rd position, but again, they're starting to drop back a little bit more as those front 2 start to pull away.
All right, so Brian, we have up in the booth right now Bethany Porter. She is with the Spec MX-5 Challenge, and she is the series administrator here. And Bethany, welcome to Summit Point Raceway.
Thanks, Greg. I'm glad to be here. It's been a great weekend so far.
All right, and so far, nice clean race. I'm sure it created some issues for the folks in the series yesterday, not getting that first race in yesterday, having to come out this morning. But what was the feeling in the paddock? Were they pretty much prepared to go, knowing that they had just the damp qualifying sessions yesterday?
Yes, they ended up getting quality 2 was in the dry, so that was good. But we got so much great information from the region that it wasn't an issue, and they were all prepared for it and ready to go.
All right, so coming down into turn number 1, Brian, once again, the field side by side, and I think we might have a new leader here in Spec MX-5 Challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to hold that line as Nicholson's going to sit there and pin Michael Borden down to the driver's right-hand side coming out of turn 2. They're side by side. Nicholson may get a little bit of an advantage there. Borden's going to let him go up into turn 3 as they head down into the chute, but throw in that 4 of Alex Bertagnoli. He's right there. Greg, we got a 6-car train going down in turn 5.
Yeah, we've got the majority of the pack all separated by within about half a car length now as they're 2 wide coming through the chute down into turn number 5 and retaking the lead there. It is Nathan Nicholson in that red number 95 machine. Michael Borden right back behind him. You see there's a second pack there with Mac Harrison, Tom Bogar, Aiden Coleman, as well as Wild Price as they are currently about 5 seconds in arrears of that lead pack of 6. So Bethany, we were talking a little bit yesterday when we were preparing for the race that we thought was going to be yesterday afternoon about some of the things that makes the Spec MX-5 Challenge very special here. Of course, it's not at the moment an SCCA club racing class, but you work with a number of different race organizations to put on a series, and it is a nationwide series.
Yes, it definitely is. Last year we ran with everybody from SCCA to NASA to our championship was with GT Celebration down in Colas, so that was always really interesting.
Yeah, and so just last week was the first round of the Spec MX-5 Challenge, which is out at Button Willow Raceway Park out in California. Safe to say, and I think we know, none of those racers that were at that event are racing here at Summit Point this weekend, but we do have a number of events here on the East Coast. Matter of fact, for those of you that are listening to us here this weekend, we're going to see the Spec MX-5 Challenge first weekend in May, Mother's Day weekend at Virginia International Raceway. They're going to be part of the Sark Mars Challenge as well. But this is a great the quality of the racing that we're seeing so far, Bethany. Very tight, very close. These cars are more or less identically prepared, I guess, at this point. They obviously are built in the same spec. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, a couple of years ago when the series started up, a lot of the cars were coming out of the same shop and being prepared and then purchased by the drivers. Now I understand that you've got the owners basically building the cars to the rule set, but it is a very strict rule set. It's not like Spec Miata where they're trying to squeeze 3 different types of cars into one class.
And Greg, we have one car that went off in turn 10. It looks like he's going to have some rear damage. That is going to be the 47 of Mac Harrison. That bumper more than likely is going to come off by the time he gets down into turn 1. He's able to continue there, but I have a feeling he's going to get some type of a meatball flag or something, unless that bumper comes off and goes off of outside of the racing line, because that thing is barely being held on as he comes out of 2. Still got pretty good pace, so evidently it's just the rear bumper that he may have clipped on the tire barrier.
All right, and so, Brian, we've got some big changes while that happened towards the rear end of the field. Some big changes up at the front of the pack is the number 4 machine of Alex Bertagnoli. He is your new leader. Michael Borden still holds station in 5th, in 2nd. Nathan Saxon, who started off on the front row, had fallen all the way back in the 5th position. He is now sitting up in 3rd in that Flat Out Motorsports blue and orange machine. And then Nate Nicholson, who just a moment ago was our leader, he is now back in 5th position behind that lead pack as Bertagnoli and Borden have a small little breakaway at the moment, I'd say about 5 car lengths now separating themselves from Nathan Saxon. Cam Eben in the number 55 machine, he's running 4th just ahead of Nathan Nicholson, with Will Robusto in that at the tail end of that second group.
I'll tell you what, Borden and Bertagnoli, they're trying to hook up and go and pull away from that next 3 back there, actually give it the next 4, trying to pull away as they're starting to go. But I tell you what, Greg, it's going to be hard to do when you're going side by side, coming out of 2 and heading up into 3. As they get through turn 3, they're back single file. Again, those two got to work together. You've got to have that partner, especially here in these Miatas, in order to pull away. The rest of the field coming. Again, I have not seen Mac Harrison go by, so he may have pulled in with that bumper challenge that he may have had. I think he is pulling in, or has pulled in to
matter of fact, he's on the pit lane right now. Brian was over at our Black Flag station. We'll see if he's going to be heading back out likely without a rear bumper cap. And we'll see here, he is, well,
Nope, he is making the right-hand turn. So
back to the paddock, actually, with the bumper cap still attached. I think they tried to yank it off the back of the car, and well, as robust as Mazda typically builds the MX-5s and Miatas, couldn't get the darn thing off, as our leaders now are out of turn 10, and that breakaway that we had on the last lap with Bertignoli and Borden, it is a breakaway no more, as Nathan Saxon, Cam Eben, Will Robusto have been using the draft and have pulled right back up to our two leaders. Nathan Nicholson, though, in the number 95 machine, has now dropped a little bit off of that pack of the top four. He's about 4 car lengths back now, currently running in 6th position, as he had Will Robusto in that silver and blue number 22 make his way around him the last lap.
You know, Greg, I've been watching a little bit with Nicholson on the cameras here, especially coming out of turn 4 down turn 5. Just doesn't really have the drive off. That's where the group of 4 starts to pull away. Also, with Michael Borden coming out of turn 10, he gets a great run out of turn 10, heading back to Bertagnoli, and that's where he's able to gain that you know, what he loses back up to the start-finish line, and then they try to get hooked up going out in turn 1. So it's going to be interesting, it looks like, because it is a lot colder out here. They still may not have that forward drive that they need. I guarantee you they're probably all looking, talking to themselves under the helmet. You're asking, I need more forward drive.
Well, and part of the issue there, Brian, is I watch a good portion of the field here, and most of these drivers are not, they're not Summit Point regulars, we'll say. And I see them coming out of the chute, the fastest corner on the track, and taking what I would call, I'd call the iRacing line down through the chute, where iRacing will tell you to go over driver's right and treat turn 5 at the bottom of the hill like a traditional left-hand turn. You start from driver's right, you apex, you finish driver's right. And the locals here will tell you that's probably not the way to do it. The corner leading up to it, the chute, that downhill right-hander, fastest corner on the track, and in one of these MX-5s, you probably want to have the car mid-track, maybe a little bit to the left of mid-track, and even use the curbing at the apex of 5 to help rotate the car. But it is better to carry speed down to the corner. And what we saw on that last lap was Nathan Saxon, who I know has driven here before in Spec Miata, used that to his advantage. He came right underneath Michael Borden, under braking into turn number 5, and was able to retake 2nd position from the number 42 car.
Well, as they went through turn 3 and down to turn 4, if you saw on your camera, Bertagnoli, he's loving this because they're 2 by 2, then another single car going through turn 5. He's starting to pull away. We look at the camera here coming up out of turn 8. Look at the gap that Bertagnoli now has over that field. They went through the whole carousel 2 by 2 before they do it. So he has really kind of opened up and stretched that lead. Here he comes out of turn 10 right now. And Greg, last time by, it was about 4 or 5 car lengths. It's about 10 to 15 car lengths now back to 2nd place. Michael Borden and the 55 of Cam Eben.
Yeah, and I would put it there as Michael Borden has gotten around Cam Eben, and Eben and Borden definitely working together, using the old bump draft down the front straight, but going down into turn 1 right behind them, Nate Saxon and Nathan Nicholson. Nicholson, who got around Will Robusto the last time by, trying to come down the inside of Nathan Saxon. Those two drivers who had started off on the front row today, they find themselves in 4th and 5th position, and Will Robusto tries to make it 3 wide for a moment coming out of turn 2. He ends up sliding behind, and Brian, as they came out, it looks as though Nicholson once again dropped back and fell back almost 8 car lengths just between turns 2 and that very short run to turn 3.
Yeah, again, probably not getting the drive off of, you know, out of 2 that he really wants. And now it looks like we may have one of them, it may have been the Nathan Saxon machine, get his right rear off in turn 5 right there in the dirt. Here comes our other group down in turn 5. We'll look at turn 8. I tell you what, you know, Bethany, you're talking about, you know, Michael Borden trying to really coach some of these people and using them as the coach. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get back with Cam Eben after this is over and say, hey, listen, Bertagnoli really got ahead of us. We got to really start working together, because it looks like Cam's trying to really press the issue here. They're coming to 3 to go. I would say, hey, look, you know what? Maybe we should work together. And Nathan Nicholson goes off in turn 10, Greg. Great recovery there to keep it. So, again, that'll drop him back a little bit more.
Further, yeah.
He's got a little bit more forward bite now because he's got some gravel on the tires. But as I was talking about, I think, you know, more of, hey, let's work together, because that could be something that a younger driver really doesn't understand, that these cars, you really got to have that partner in order to drive up.
Oh, for sure, Brian. I would definitely say that. To me, it's so many times, if you could just work together until 2 laps to go, everybody could be so much further. It's really amazing to see Alex that far ahead.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a lesson and a reminder.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll see, because the next time they cross the stripe, it will be 2 laps to go. But they should have probably waited 3 or so laps before they got to that point, before they started fighting. It does now look like Evan and Borden are trying to work together. They're trying to push up. But here's the interesting thing, Brian. That last time by, Bertagnoli, who doesn't have the benefit of the draft, he doesn't have anybody bump drafting him down this 3/4 of a mile front straight here at Summit Point Raceway, 0.2 of a second faster than Borden and Evan working together. So obviously, the number 4 machine putting something together down at the bottom half of the course, what we call the talent section here at Summit Point, because it really depends on you being able to ease into the throttle and carry speed all the way back up to turn 10. And now Michael Borden has seemed to leave, he's left Cam Eben a little bit behind. He's got about 4 car lengths. Nathan Saxon now the fastest driver on track, with a time that is about 0.2 of a second faster than either of the 2 cars ahead of him. Problem is that Bertagnoli also about 0.2 of a second faster than the 2 cars behind him.
Yeah, they're coming out of turn 2. You can see they're really starting to stretch out. Nathan Nicholson dropping way back there a little bit further again, trying to make it. Then we got a little bit of the Tristan Herbert line. I tell you what, they got a little bit of a contact there between the 55 of Eben and the 16 of Nathan Saxon coming up through turn 3, Greg. You'll be able to see coming out of turn 4 down into turn 5, they're really going to be all stretched out as they're trying to do it. So Nathan Saxon and Cam Eben, a little bit of contact nose to tail there going through 3.
Yeah, it looks like going through 3. And then we've got a car off, Brian. Driver's right coming out of the chute, and looks like we've got it. Will be covered in a moment here by a yellow flag, local yellow, at turn number 5. He's actually just driven out of our line of sight here. We'll track and try and get that car number.
That may be the 16. That may be Saxon. Because again, that was because here comes Bertagnoli now, and then here comes.
Saxon's here. Saxon is now running in 2nd place, Brian.
Yep. So
as he crosses the line, it is then Robusto, Cam Eben, and I think it's Michael Borden.
Actually, it is Michael.
Who is
so that's where the contact was between the 55 and Michael Borden in that 42 machine. So Michael sitting down there just out of our camera view, right off over here in turn 5. As our leader now, Bertagnoli, again, should be getting the one. He should have got the one to go there at the line. He's opened up by about 25, give it 30 car lengths now over the 16 of Saxon, and then the 22 Will Robusto in there.
That's right. We are on the very last lap here at Summit Point for our Spec MX-5 Challenge. Again, we are going to see them one more time today for their feature race to wrap up the afternoon.
And Greg, I think we do have a little bit of debris there in the middle of turn 3, and the wind's going to blow it right actually back into the line. It could be part of the bumper from the 42 machine, but it looks like it's a little black piece of plastic underneath there.
All right, Brian, so we should have our leaders now coming through turn number 8, starting to head up the hill towards the bridge on the very last time, and Bertagnoli now opening up almost a 20 car length advantage over the trio of Nathan Saxon. Will Robusto's moved up to 3rd, and Cam Eben in the gray number 55 machine sitting in 4th as they come out of turn 10 for the very last time in this race. Checkered flag is out, and your winner in race number 1 for Spec MX-5 Challenge here at Summit Point Raceway is Alex Bertagnoli from Lakewood, Illinois. Nathan Saxon from Wakefield, Rhode Island will come home in 2nd. Cam Eben